Well, hey guys, how's it going? I'm Sheila, in case you don't know. But you know, I haven't talked to you for a while, and you all know how I am. I'm not a I'm not a hustler. You know, I'm not one of those people that will just do anything or even come to you and go, "What do you want me to do?" Just to keep the money flowing. If there's something I really want to talk about, I come talk to you. If there's nothing I want to talk about, I don't. Now, the last couple videos, I wanted to talk about politics because it was driving me crazy. But I realized for the next 4 years, it's going to be an up and down ride. Just don't even, you know what, don't waste your time being upset about things that happen. Just go with the flow. So now I don't even want to talk about politics. But I do want to talk about online poker. And, you know, give you some updates of how being retired is going for me. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Every single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day.
Well, as far as being retired, I am not going to lie. For the last 6 weeks, and I keep saying I need to look for a job, and I haven't yet, but for the last 6 weeks, I have done nothing, and I swear to God, nothing but watch British mysteries, mobster movies, and play online poker. I only clean the house if I absolutely have to, because my daughter says, "Mom, I'm coming over," and I'm like, "Oh God," you know. Or my sister came over a couple of weeks ago because my daughter graduated finally with her associate's degree in surgical technologies. Hey, whoa, 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 whoa! Sorry, sir. Yeah. That was a lot for her to do, and it took her 2 years, okay, when she had a part-time job that the doctor she had worked for as an LPN for 9 years agreed to abbreviate her schedule so she could take those classes. She finally got through it. My sister came down, and we were so proud of her. We all went out to dinner. We went to this fancy smancy Italian restaurant, and they cook everything to order. I have never waited so long for my food in my life. We all just, I mean, I don't even know what to say. We decided to give the place 5 stars, but take into account that they cook everything to order, and they will not bring the next course until everybody at the table has finished the previous course. So if somebody is slow eating and scrolling on their phone and taking their time, the rest of us are starving until the waiter can come and take their plate too, and then they bring us the next course. It costs way too much money. Everybody's dinner cost them $50, $60, $70. Mine's cost me $18 because all I got was soup and a salad. Because I've been eating Italian food all my life, but there was nothing on that menu I recognized. So I'm not gonna spend $40 on a meal that I'm not even sure what it is. So I went with what I know. An asparagus cream soup, which was delicious, and a Caesar salad. Because I'm like that. I'm old school, y'all. But we had a great time at the restaurant, and to this day, we still make jokes about it, because nobody has ever been to a restaurant where it took them that long. And they have this thing that they don't even give you menus until you make a drink order. And so the lady asked me what I wanted. You know, I'm old, so I can get away with shit like this now. Oops, excuse me. And I said, "I don't want a drink, but I really would like to have a menu." And so she had to bring me a menu. But I had never been in a restaurant that does not even allow you to look at a menu until after you've made a drink order. So yeah, we had a great time. We were all proud of her. And she ended up being offered a job even before graduation at the hospital in the town I work in. And I made a video probably 6 months ago, where I told her no more degrees after this, because it's a lot of work for this tribe. And we are a small tribe, okay? But it's a lot of work for this tribe. And my ex-husband and I are getting older. And so after going through 2 years and trying to work all this stuff out, even she has decided, Mom, I am good for a minute. And even if I decide to go a little higher, we're going to start with online stuff, because I don't want to have to get my son up at 6:30 in the morning anymore to take him to a babysitter so she can take him to daycare, and then have to either get, myself or fake son-in-law or her trying to break a speed limit to get him picked up from daycare. So even she needs a break from the hectic lifestyle that it takes for a young woman with a small child to get a degree in this day and time. Quite frankly, we all walked across that stage, okay, when she got that degree. And she realizes that. And so her payment to myself is, she knows I don't want to move out of my apartment. And I'm really not sure I really want to get a job, but I think I should at least try. Her thing is, well, Mom, now I'm not working part-time. Now I got a job at a hospital where I work full-time. And I do have to be on call every other week. But that's considered overtime. And well, the president wrote into a little bill that overtime will no longer be taxed. And that's the main reason why people don't like to do overtime, because it gets taxed so badly. So, between having to be on call, whether she has to go or not, she gets paid. And it's time and a half, because it's above and beyond her regular 40 hours. And the weekend on call, once a month, it's the same thing. She goes, Mom, at this point, money is not really a problem. And the business, I really thought there might be a drop in her business, because it was the business that helped her pay her bills when she dropped to part-time so she could go to school for 2 years. But what I found out is rich people are still rich. She recently did a 2-week notice only Memorial Day job. And she goes, I'm going to have to charge you double. Some people didn't blink. Next weekend, she's taking me and my sister on a little mini vacation. Because she goes, Mom, you earned it. And, I know Aunt Shara wants to go too. See, that's what I'm talking about. When you have children, and some of you may have known I was married when I had my daughter, but then we got divorced when she was 10. And I didn't meet Leroy until she was 15. So yeah, I was pretty much single parent. Now, my ex-husband was an excellent father, but he didn't make the money I made. Remember, I owned a little cleaning service. But that cleaning service didn't do bad. That's why my daughter was able to go to college the first time, and I was able to pay for it, as well as gymnastics and horseback riding lessons, ballet, and tutors when she started, having problems with, algebra. I did that, but that was my job. See, when you have a child and don't choose abortion, then it's the job that you have taken on. They don't owe you anything. It's the job you decided you wanted to do. And so I've never made my daughter feel like she owed me anything. All I did was be as supportive of her as I could, but I also called her out when she did stupid shit. There was a time my daughter and I didn't talk for 2 months because I called her out on something. And let me tell you, because I would not talk to her for 2 months, she sent some cops to my house to do a welfare check. And I had to explain to her, you only do a welfare check when you think the person is in danger or danger to themselves. You do not send cops to somebody's house to do a welfare check simply because they don't want to talk to you. So yeah, we've had our moments, but I have always been honest with my daughter. I've always been proud of her when she did the right things. I've always, you know, say, honey, you were wrong. And you need to fix this, you know? Because we weren't friends. She was my daughter. These days, if she has a business problem, even though my little business was nothing more than a cleaning service, I didn't have a fancy degree, but I understood customer service. I also understood standing your ground, not letting anybody take advantage of you, charging top dollar, but realizing you got to give top performance in return. So if she has an issue with her business, she calls me. And I give her the best advice I can. No more, no less. And for some reason, that's all of this seems to have made her feel like, Mom, I know you don't want to leave. I know you don't want to leave your apartment. I know you're going to get Social Security next month. I know you really don't want to get a job. So, since you're so close to my job, if I have to do one call, can I throw Adonis at your house on the way to work? Sure, you can. And when I have to do a whole weekend, once a month on call, and it's not his daddy's weekend, can I throw Adonis at your house on my way to work? Sure you can. And she goes, okay, Mom, in return, I make sure, you know, what your Social Security doesn't pay, I'll make sure it's covered by me because I can afford to do it. Win-win for everybody. Because, you know, I have a dog. And even though she has already put in for a 3-bedroom apartment, who knows how long that'll take. And in all honesty, guys, I really don't want to get a job. I love sitting around the friggin' house. You know, I know people retire and then they don't know what to do with themselves. Had I retired from my business with no Amazon involved, I'd be one of those people. But I put more energy in Amazon in those 5.5 years than I did the whole 25 years I owned my business. And so, yeah, when I just decided I just don't want to do Amazon anymore, I got a little money to make sure I'm okay until I decide what to do next, I was ready to retire. There are days I don't even take a shower unless I got to go to the grocery store. I ain't even got no shame. I don't clean the house unless I know somebody coming over. I ain't got no shame. Now I don't have to do anything I don't want to do unless I need to. And it is always a pleasure to have my grandson. Because now he's 4 years old. I don't have to pick him up and put him in the car seat. I don't have to pick him up and put him in the crib. That little man be helping me. So now he is a treasure and a joy. And I have no problems spending time with him. So basically, that is what I've been doing. And as far as online poker goes, I used to play a lot before I went to Amazon and it started sucking up all my time. And then I didn't. So now that I'm retired, I started playing again. And I have 2 profiles. A Facebook profile that has, the profile picture is my face. And then I have another profile that is something else. Both of those profiles had like $4 billion. In the 6 weeks that I have been retired, they both have over $50 billion. And you know what I found out with online poker? And probably it's the same thing about life. Is you have to be 2 things to win. You either have to be aggressive, which means you bluff, you lie, you cheat, you throw money around to bully other people so they back down and fold, or you play tight. If somebody else wants to throw a bunch of money in, if you have a hand that you would have never thrown that kind of money in, you fold. In other words, you don't go chasing what you could get. You're satisfied with what you have. If I have 2 aces in my hand, somebody can throw in $100 billion. I'm going to throw mine in too. But if I got anything less than that, I'm going to fold. Also, I realized that you got to check people out. I look at profiles. If they have 0 money, they desperate, will lie, will cheat, will bluff. If I'm playing a game that requires $2 billion just to get in the game, and they only got $1 billion after they put up their $2 billion, same thing. They're gonna lie, they're gonna cheat, they're gonna bluff. If they have as much money as me, oh, they might try. But if I know I got the best hand on the table, baby, I'm gonna fight you. But if I don't have the best hand on the table, then yeah, I fold. Because it's not worth it. It's not worth losing everything when you don't have, as Donald Trump said, all the cards. So that's what I've been up to. I just thought I'd make a video and tell you what was going on, and yeah, I'm gonna say it like I've been saying it for the last 2 weeks. I'm thinking about looking for a job next week. We'll see. Okay. Take care. Stay blessed. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.